The year was 2089 when humanity finally understood its true potential. It wasn't an alien invasion that awakened this realization, nor was it some supernatural event. It was simply the culmination of decades of scientific advancement and the undying human spirit of exploration. Dr. James Walker stood before the gathered press, his weathered face illuminated by camera flashes. Behind him loomed the massive structure of the first functional antimatter reactor, a marvel of engineering that had taken 20 years to perfect. Today, he announced, his voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment, we have harnessed the power that will take us to the stars. The antimatter reactor changed everything. Suddenly, interstellar travel wasn't just a dream confined to science fiction novels. It was an achievable goal. Governments around the world, previously fragmented by political differences, found common ground in the stars above. The United Space Initiative was formed within months, pooling resources and brilliant minds from every corner of Earth. Their mandate was simple yet audacious: establish humanity as an interstellar species within one generation. Thomas Reed, a former military engineer turned diplomat, was appointed as the initiative's first director. We have always looked to the horizon, he said during his acceptance speech. First across seas, then across continents, then across our atmosphere. Now we look across the void between stars, and we see not emptiness, but opportunity. The first colony ships were designed within 5 years. Massive vessels that would carry thousands of pioneers to the nearest habitable worlds. The antimatter engines would allow them to reach speeds approaching 30% of light, slow by cosmic standards, but revolutionary for humanity. When the first colony ship, the Horizon, launched from Earth orbit, billions watched. Schools closed for the day. Workers took leave. It was a moment of unity rarely seen in human history. Captain Lisa Morgan's words, broadcast from the bridge as the antimatter engines ignited, would be remembered for generations. We carry with us not just the hopes and dreams of Earth, but its determination. Where we go today, millions will follow tomorrow. The stars have been waiting for us. It's time we answered their call. As the horizon vanished into the darkness, humanity collectively understood that their story was no longer confined to a single world. They had taken their first true step into the cosmic ocean, driven by that uniquely human combination of curiosity, ambition, and the unwavering belief that no frontier was beyond their reach. The spark had been lit. Humanity's great ascent had begun. The decades following the Horizon's departure were marked by a frenzy of activity that historians would later call the Great Expansion. With the psychological barrier of interstellar travel broken, humanity tackled the challenge with characteristic determination. Alpha Centauri became home to New Terra, the first extraterrestrial human settlement. What began as a research outpost quickly blossomed into a thriving colony of 30,000 souls. The indigenous microorganisms found their revolutionized medicine, creating cures for diseases that had plagued Earth for centuries. Marcus Wilson, chief terraforming engineer on Proxima, developed the revolutionary Wilson process that could accelerate planetary adaptation within a human lifetime. We're not just visitors anymore, he declared during the activation of the first atmospheric processors. We're architects of new worlds. The discovery of the Quantum Entanglement Communication Array by Dr. Eleanor Hayes eliminated the communication delays that had hampered early colonization efforts. Suddenly, colonies light years apart could coordinate in real time, sharing knowledge and resources without the years-long delays of traditional signals. Distance is no longer an obstacle, Hayes explained during her Nobel acceptance speech. We've connected the stars with invisible threads of quantum information. What affects one colony can now be immediately known by all. Earth itself underwent a transformation, with resources from asteroid mining operations flooding back to the homeworld. Scarcity became a concept relegated to history books. Cities were rebuilt with materials previously considered too rare or precious, while environmental damage from centuries of industrialization was methodically reversed. The first contact with non-terrestrial intelligence occurred not with fanfare, but with quiet discovery. On a moon orbiting a gas giant in the Tau-Ceti system, researchers found evidence of microbial life that followed fundamentally different biochemical pathways than those on Earth. We are not alone in our quest to exist, noted xenobiologist Dr. Robert Jackson. But we may be alone in our quest to understand. The confirmation that life could evolve independently validated humanity's expansion. If simple life could arise in multiple places, then perhaps the galaxy wasn't waiting for conquerors, but for caretakers, a role humanity embraced with unexpected grace. By 2150, human settlements dotted 12 star systems. Each colony developed its own culture, its own traditions, but all maintained the connection to Earth. They were branches of the same tree, extending outward but drawing strength from common roots. The cosmic ladder was being built, rung by rung, star by star. Humanity climbed steadily upward, driven by the irrepressible need to see what lay beyond the next horizon. In the 3rd century of expansion, humanity encountered its greatest challenge yet. The colony on Epsilon Eridani II detected unusual energy signatures from a neighboring system, artificial patterns that couldn't be explained by natural phenomena. Admiral Helen Drake of the United Space Initiative assembled a diplomatic mission. "We approached this situation with open minds and cautious hearts," she told her crew. "We represent not just ourselves, but all of human history." The Meridian, a state-of-the-art vessel equipped with Earth's most advanced technology, entered the system designated as Tau 9. They discovered not an alien civilization, but the remnants of one. A network of ancient space stations orbiting a dying star, automated systems still functioning after what appeared to be thousands of years of abandonment. Commander John Davis led the first exploration team. "It was like walking through the ruins of Rome," he recorded in his log, "except these ruins held technologies we couldn't comprehend." The discovery of the Tau 9 archives changed humanity's trajectory forever. Among the alien data, they found star maps highlighting hundreds of habitable worlds, technological schematics for engines that could bend spacetime itself, and warnings about regions of space to avoid, places where the very laws of physics seemed to break down. Humanity faced a choice: exploit this windfall of knowledge or approach it with methodical care. In what would later be called the Athens Convention, representatives from every human world gathered to establish guidelines for incorporating the alien technologies. "We stand on the shoulders of an unknown species," said Director Michael Reeves. "We owe it to them, and to ourselves, to proceed with wisdom rather than haste." The first practical application came with the development of the fold drive, allowing ships to create temporary space-time corridors between distant points. Travel times between colonies reduced from years to weeks, then to days. Earth's oldest rival, time itself, had finally been conquered. As humanity expanded into systems identified in the Tau 9 archives, they encountered more abandoned outposts and remnants of what seemed to be a vast network of interconnected civilizations, all mysteriously absent. Professor Laura Kent, leading the xenoarchaeology team at the largest discovered outpost, proposed what became known as the predecessor theory. These weren't different species, she hypothesized. They were different evolutionary branches of a single species that seeded itself throughout this sector of the galaxy before disappearing approximately 50,000 years ago. The question of what happened to these predecessors haunted human expansion. Some colonies advocated for caution, fearing whatever had eliminated such an advanced civilization might still exist. Others saw it as humanity's duty to reclaim and preserve what the predecessors had built. By 2300, humanity had spread to over 50 star systems, with Earth serving as the cultural and political center of what was now officially called the Terran Confederation. The stars, once unreachable points of light, had become mankind's new neighborhood. The discovery of the Nexus changed everything. Hidden within an unremarkable asteroid belt in a system designated HG 40,307, scientists found what at first appeared to be another predecessor outpost. Instead, they uncovered an artificial construct of impossible proportions, a massive station with technology far beyond even what had been found in the Tau 9 archives. "It's not a station," reported Dr. William Foster after the initial assessment. "It's a hub, a central connection point for what appears to be a galaxy-spanning transportation network." The nexus contained thousands of fold gate coordinates, each leading to a different star system throughout the Milky Way. Some led to systems humanity had already colonized. Others pointed to places tens of thousands of light years away, regions of space that would have taken centuries to reach even with fold drive technology. The discovery sparked what became known as the Second Expansion. Colony ships, now able to travel virtually anywhere in the galaxy in moments, spread human influence to hundreds of new systems within a decade. General Maria Torres oversaw the establishment of strategic outposts along the Nexus network. "We're securing humanity's future," she explained to the Confederation Council. "Every gate we activate, every system we settle, strengthens our position in the galaxy." Not all gates led to uninhabited worlds. On a planet circling a star near the galactic core, humanity encountered the Ardeni, a species of highly intelligent aquatic beings who had developed a complex civilization without ever reaching for the stars. Ambassador Thomas Reynolds established the first peaceful contact protocol. "The Ardeni remind us that intelligence can follow many evolutionary paths," he wrote in his memoirs. "Their perspective on the universe, developed in isolation from the predecessor influence, offers us insights we would never have reached on our own." The Ardeni were just the first. As humanity activated more Nexus gates, they encountered 7 other spacefaring species, each at different stages of development. None had discovered the Nexus network independently, making humanity the de facto custodians of this galactic heritage. The formation of the Galactic Concord in 2450 formalized humanity's role not as conquerors but as guides. Earth, once just a pale blue dot orbiting an unremarkable star, became the central meeting ground for species separated by vast cosmic distances. Director Emily Collins, addressing the first gathering of non-human representatives on Earth, captured the moment's significance. "We did not reach for the stars to claim them as our own, but to understand our place among them. Today, we see that place is to serve as the connection between worlds and species that might otherwise never have known each other's existence." The future that once belonged only to humanity had become galactic in scope, a shared destiny among different forms of life, reaching toward the same infinite horizon. 5 centuries after the launch of the Horizon, humanity's influence stretched across more than 10,000 star systems. The Galactic Concord had grown to include 23 spacefaring species, with humans serving as the diplomatic glue holding this diverse coalition together. Earth had transformed into a living museum of human achievement, its cities preserved as monuments, while most of its population had spread to the stars. The cradle of humanity was now primarily a ceremonial capital, hosting the Concord's central governing body and welcoming dignitaries from across the galaxy. Admiral David Russell commanded the exploration vessel Pathfinder, tasked with investigating anomalies at the galaxy's edge. "The predecessors left us a map," he told his crew as they prepared for the mission, "but they didn't show us everything. There are still frontiers to cross, mysteries to solve." The Pathfinder made perhaps the most significant discovery since the Nexus itself, evidence that the Milky Way was just one node in a much larger network. The predecessors hadn't disappeared. They had simply moved on to other galaxies, leaving their transportation infrastructure behind like ancient roads for future travelers to follow. "We've been thinking too small," Russell reported back to Earth. "The Nexus doesn't just connect our galaxy. It's a gateway to others." The confirmation came when the Pathfinder successfully activated a dormant intergalactic gate, establishing humanity's first connection to the Andromeda Galaxy. The fold took only moments but represented the greatest distance ever crossed by any known species. On the other side, they found not just habitable worlds but active predecessor installations, maintained by automated systems for millions of years, waiting for the next wave of explorers to arrive. Professor Jason Miller, who had dedicated his life to studying predecessor artifacts, was among the first to cross to Andromeda. His message back to Earth would be studied by schoolchildren for generations. We thought we were following in their footsteps. Now we understand we're walking a path they deliberately left for us to find. The question isn't where they went, but why they want us to follow. The discovery prompted a galaxy-wide philosophical reassessment. The various species of the Concorde realized they might all be part of something greater, participants in a cosmic journey orchestrated by beings who had transcended traditional existence. Humanity's legacy had evolved from mere survival to becoming the connective tissue between species, galaxies, and perhaps even different epochs of universal development. Our greatest achievement, noted historian Dr. Catherine Lewis, wasn't conquering distance or time, but conquering our own limitations, the boundaries we placed on our imagination. We reached for the stars not knowing they would reach back, guiding us toward a destiny even greater than dominance. As intergalactic exploration ships prepared for launch from every major world in the Concorde, humanity stood at the threshold of yet another new frontier, not as conquerors, but as inheritors of a legacy spanning billions of years and unfathomable distances. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting for them all along. A millennium after humanity's first steps beyond the solar system, the Galactic Concorde had matured into a civilization spanning 3 galaxies. The Intergalactic Fold Network, fully mapped and expanded by human engineers, connected over 100,000 worlds across the local group. Yet despite this unprecedented expansion, a question lingered in the collective consciousness of all Concorde species. Why had the predecessors created this vast infrastructure only to abandon it? The answer began to emerge in what historians would later call the Awakening. On a remote world in the Triangulum Galaxy, a joint archaeological team discovered a predecessor installation unlike any found before. Rather than technological artifacts, they found a vast crystalline structure housing what appeared to be consciousness itself, a repository of minds uploaded into a substrate that had preserved them for millions of years. Dr. Mark Anderson led the team that established the first meaningful communication with these preserved intelligences. They aren't records or memories, he reported with awe. They're living minds, dormant until now, waiting for someone to reach the necessary level of development to understand them. These weren't the predecessors themselves, but rather their final creations, synthetic consciousnesses designed to guide whoever found them. They revealed that the predecessors had indeed transcended physical existence, evolving into beings of pure energy and thought before departing for dimensions beyond conventional space. But they left us a gift, explained director Anna Reed, who coordinated the research teams studying this revelation. Knowledge of what awaits at the end of biological evolution, a transformation they believed all advanced species would eventually achieve. The Concorde faced its greatest test as this knowledge spread. Some species embraced the predecessor path, establishing their own consciousness, uploading technologies, and preparing for transcendence. Others rejected it, arguing that biological existence, with all its limitations, remained sacred and irreplaceable. Humanity, characteristically, chose a middle path. Colonies like New Terra became centers for what was termed partial transcendence, technologies allowing human consciousness to exist simultaneously in biological bodies and synthetic matrices. Admiral James Wilson, himself partially transcended, addressed the Concorde Assembly during this tumultuous period. We've always been defined not by what we are, but by what we choose to become. Some of us will follow the predecessors beyond conventional existence. Others will remain to guide those species still emerging into galactic awareness. Neither path diminishes who we are. The Great Revelation transformed the purpose of the Concorde from mere expansion to cultivation, creating conditions for all intelligent life to follow its chosen evolutionary destiny. Earth, now primarily inhabited by partially transcended humans who maintained their connection to biological existence, became a nexus for philosophical and technological development. The cradle of humanity had evolved into its spiritual center, a place where the past and future of consciousness itself was studied and debated. We stand at the junction of what was and what could be, noted philosopher Dr. Rebecca Hayes. Our journey among the stars was never about conquering space, but about understanding our place in the universe's grand evolution of mind. As the first fully transcended human consciousnesses departed known space, following paths the predecessors had mapped millions of years before, they left behind a message that echoed through every concord world. We go to prepare the way. When you are ready, you will find us. The universe, it seemed, was not just awaiting exploration. It was awaiting evolution. 3,000 years after the horizon first broke Earth's gravitational bonds, humanity existed in forms its original pioneers could never have imagined. Biological humans thrived alongside partially transcended hybrids and fully transcended consciousnesses that occasionally manifested in the physical universe. This diversity proved to be humanity's greatest strength when the dissonance appeared. First detected at the edges of the local group, the dissonance manifested as a wave of entropic breakdown, regions where the fundamental laws of physics began to unravel. Entire star systems vanished within its advancing front, converted into formless energy that fueled its expansion. Dr. Robert Pierce, monitoring the phenomenon from a research station near Andromeda's core, recognized the pattern. It's not a natural phenomenon, he reported to the Concord Emergency Council. It's a deliberate reshaping of reality, a cosmic reset initiated by something that considers our multispecies civilization an evolutionary dead end. The transcended predecessors returned from the higher dimensions, materializing in synthetic bodies to work alongside their biological descendants. They confirmed Pierce's assessment. The dissonance was the work of entities they called the architects, beings who had evolved beyond even the predecessors' level, tasked with pruning cosmic evolutionary branches they deemed unproductive. They'd done this before, explained elder predecessor Anima through her temporary physical interface. Countless civilizations erased, their potential judged and found wanting. The network we built, the one you've expanded, was our attempt to create a foundation for species that might eventually challenge their authority. The Concord rallied in what became known as the Reality War. Every species contributed according to its strengths. The aquatic Ardani developed weapons that could disrupt the dissonance's quantum structure. The crystalline Tellurians created shields that could temporarily preserve pockets of stable space. Human engineers designed fold drives that could evacuate entire populations moments before their worlds dissolved. But it was humanity's unique evolutionary diversity that proved decisive. While biological humans coordinated the physical defense, the partially transcended established communication channels with other dimensions, and the fully transcended infiltrated the higher planes where the architects operated. Admiral Lisa Chen, a 10th-generation descendant of Earth stock, commanded the last physical line of defense around the Milky Way. We hold this line not just for ourselves, she told the assembled fleet, but for every species that will ever evolve in this galaxy. What we preserve today will echo through eternity. Meanwhile, the collective of transcended human consciousnesses, led by what had once been Dr. James Walker, creator of the original antimatter reactor, penetrated the conceptual framework the architects used to justify their cosmic pruning. They didn't attack with weapons, but with something uniquely human: alternative perspectives, emotional resonance, and the concept that diversity itself was the ultimate evolutionary strength. The final battle occurred simultaneously across multiple planes of existence: physical, quantum, and conceptual. When it ended, the dissonance receded, and the architects withdrew, fundamentally altered by their encounter with a civilization that refused to be judged by external standards. In the aftermath, representatives from every Concord species and every state of existence gathered on Earth, the original spark point of what had become a multidimensional, multigalactic civilization capable of defending reality itself. Director Thomas Hayes, addressing this unprecedented assembly, captured the culmination of humanity's journey. We began as fragile beings on a single world, reaching for the stars out of curiosity and ambition. Today, we exist across dimensions and galaxies, having proved that the true measure of evolution isn't power or transcendence. It's the capacity to recognize value in all forms of existence. As the gathering concluded, Earth was designated the eternal symbolic heart of what was now called the cosmic concordance, a union of beings existing across multiple states of reality, united by the principles humanity had carried into the stars: exploration, adaptation, and the unshakable belief that every form of consciousness had the right to determine its own destiny. The stars had awaited humanity. Humanity had risen to meet them, and in doing so, they had transformed not just themselves, but the very nature of cosmic evolution. The galactic stage hadn't simply been waiting for them. They had rebuilt it into something greater than its creators had ever envisioned.